والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Professor Rashid, dear scholars and researchers and speakers, attendants, ladies and gentlemen, I usually ask myself, sometimes I don't sleep because I ask myself about the situation of the Ummah and the status of the Ummah. Isn't it strange? And I am asking you as well, maybe you guide me. Isn't it strange that we have the Quran and the Sunnah and the wisdom of the Sahaba and Ahl al-Bayt and the rich history, and at the same time other people, especially in the West, they develop better than us? Isn't it strange? Huh? You don't feel that it is strange? I'm sorry. Huh? Is it strange? Slightly. Then salamu alaikum. If you don't feel that it is strange, you will never get out from the crisis, especially the intellectual one. And it is a great courage from Rashid Shaz to study and discuss and bring scholars to discuss this matter, because traditionalism, especially in solutions and in understanding, is one of the great barriers between us and between advancement and development. Even to the traditionalists, I say, there is something called fiqh al-waqa. Fiqh al-waqa. If you don't understand the existing situation, you will never reach a good fatwa. You will never reach a good fatwa. If you depend only on books, with all respect to our great scholars, you will never, if you do not understand the actual situation, you cannot give a good fatwa, because fiqh al-waqa is one of the components of giving a good fatwa. Let me remind myself and you of one verse in the Quran, very small verse. إن هذا القرآن يهدي للتي هي أقوى. What does it mean? It means that if you find anything better in politics, in economy, in health care, in relation, in communication, if you find anything better, the best is in the Quran. But unfortunately, we take what we seem better depending on the intellect or the mind only, or man-made policies, man-made progress. But if we go to the Quran, ما فرطنا في الكتاب من شيء, you will find the better. Do we believe that? Do we believe that? Do we actually understand that? To get rid of our problems, I wish we can do that. I'll get you some sayings of great scholars and see what they say and how far we are from them. Ibn al-Qayyim says in Arabic, ينبغي على المسافر. Musafir here is not a traveler in an aeroplane or a traveler in the railway, but traveler to Allah. ينبغي على المسافر أن تكون له همة. همة means great will, إرادة, همة, and power, strength. ينبغي على المسافر أن تكون له همة تسيره وترقيه, means to push him to move and develop him up, upgrade him. وعلم يبصره ويهديه, not only همة or إرادة or will, but also science, علم, information, to help him, to guide him, تبصره وتهديه, to guide him on the right way. So إرادة without علم is not good, and علم without إرادة will never help. أما ابن الجوزي في صيد الخاطر, he said very strange thing. He says ينبغي على من كان له أنفة. أنفة يعني إيه؟ dignity and honor. He is of dignity. ينبغي على من كان له أنفة أن يأنف من التقصير الممكن دفعه عن النفس. Why to accept shortcoming? Why? And then he says, ولو كانت النبوة, the status of prophethood, لو كانت النبوة تنال بالاجتهاد لعد المرء مقصرا إذا قنع بالولاية. Why to accept to be wali من أولياء الله while you can be a prophet, if it is possible? It's not possible, of course, because it is a selection. Prophethood, a status, is a selection from God. But he is trying to tell you, why do you accept the inferior? Why do you accept the inferior and do not accept the best or the optimum? Let me take you to 2 points after this introduction. The first point is from our heritage. During the time of Sulaiman Pasha al-Qanuni, do you remember him? Sulaiman al-Qanuni or Sulaiman Pasha. He was Khalifa of Muslims in Turkey, and then a mosque needed an imam. The great mosque in Istanbul needed an imam. So they announced 7 conditions to appoint a new imam. This is, I saw myself in Turkey in the documents. 400 years ago, Sulaiman Pasha al-Qanuni. What were the 7 conditions? And they indicated the status of the Ummah at that time. Because if you announce to appoint someone as a professor in the university, it indicates the status of the Ummah. The conditions indicates whether there are many or not, whether the you can accept him with 1 research or 10 researches. It makes a big difference. So the 7 conditions were as follows. First of all, to know Arabic and the Latin and the Persian in addition to Turkish language. And this indicates the unity of the Ummah. You will see people coming from Iran, He will see people coming from India. He will see people coming from other areas, because it is a united ummah to know 4 languages. Number two, to know sciences of Quran, Bible, and Torah, which we call nowadays comparative religion. Number 3, to be able to give fatwas for the new issues. Every time there are new issues that need fatwa, and traditionalism will never help in that. Number 4, to master math and physics and be able to teach them in the mosque. It's very strange. Number 5, to know arts of jihad at his time. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لما تقولون ما لا تفعلون كبر مقتا عند الله أن تقولوا ما لا تفعلون. Especially imams. إن الرائد لا يكذب أهله. The imam or the master or the teacher, the university chancellor, they never lead the others wrongly. إن الرائد لا يكذب أهله. Number 6, to be well and able to recite properly the Quran. I am sure, maybe only in my country, I don't know about India much. I am sure there are imams and making adhan, people who make adhan, you love to hear to them. And there are others you don't like to hear them, although it is the same adhan. Number 7, to be good looking. Yeah, to be smart. 7 conditions for the imam. Let me take you to the next point, or the last point. In 1983, you may say, how old are you? I am 76, 77 now. In 1983, I read a small booklet. It attracted my attention. The title was A Nation at a Risk. A Nation at a Risk. So of course I thought it may be Egypt, it may be Yemen, it may be Somalia, it may be Pakistan, sorry, Dr. Ghazali, it may be Yemen or Saudi Arabia, it may be any Arab country. But unfortunately, or fortunately, it was the United States of America. A team of educationalists from kindergarten up to the postgraduates. And this is a very small booklet. You can read it in 2 hours. A team of educationalists was formed by the minister, the federal minister of America. It was Bennett. His name was Bennett at that time, as far as I remember. To see why Japanese and German exceed in the high school level competitions the Americans. Why do they do that? He didn't sleep because he loves his country and because he wants to be leading as they are doing now. After the Russians were defeated in Afghanistan, and unfortunately everyone benefited from Afghanistan except the Afghan and the Muslims in general. So he asked the team of educationalists to find what is the problem. Why do Americans come the second in international competitions in math and physics? And here I remember the story of Suleiman Pasha al-Qanuni, Imam, the Imam. Why did he learn math and mathematics and physics? They are very important for progress. So they managed to sort out the problem by indicating the curricula. The curricula must be changed and developed. And they changed the curricula, and that's why they come first in the international competitions. I hope we can find exactly the problems and the ills facing the Ummah. We, especially the professors and the imams of the mosque, especially, sometimes I see them as ambulance. We are working as an ambulance. There is a problem in Afghanistan, so all our attention is to Afghanistan. Americans say, go from here, we listen to them carefully and go from there. There is a problem in Iraq, we say, oh, the ambulance should go to Iraq, or to Syria, or now to Yemen, or Somali. And we divide the Ummah into two, as if Iran is not one of the Muslim countries. We divide, although Iran, as I say, in Egypt and in other areas, developed itself in nuclear power, and a siege was put on Iran, and we are looking what will happen, what is the problem. And now the war to Yemen, the war to Yemen. If we remember Palestine and how chronic it became, we will understand that we are not able to treat any one of our serious problems. And this is because the intellectual crisis is going on. I am sorry to say so. I should have said some good words, we laugh, or we clap, or applause, but it is my duty always to face myself and others with some reality. I am happy that I came and participated. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum.